Click the link in the description for your free Amsoil catalog. Before we get started, I'd like to give a quick shout out to some of our friends. The Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame. Search for them on Facebook. Central Minnesota Pond Racing. Search for them on Facebook. The historic Lancaster Motel for the ultimate Eastern trail riding adventure. Crane's Snowmobile Museum at 172 Main Street in Lancaster, New Hampshire. The Vintage Snowmobile Club of America Quarterly Magazine. The Bridge Street Garage Racing Team, the house racing team of the Vintage Snowmobile Podcast. The New Hampshire Snowmobile Museum at Bear Brook State Park in Allenstown, New Hampshire. And lastly, if you decide to advertise with the Vintage Snowmobile Podcast, this could be your advertising message. Good evening and welcome to the podcast. I'm really glad you're here. I have a robust lineup of vintage snowmobile entertainment on tap for you tonight, including a live guest. But before we get into all of that, I want to make sure that everything is working properly. So if you can see my face and hear my voice, I'm going to ask you to make a comment. Let me know where you're viewing this from and whether you are a first-time viewer or a regular viewer. Now, to our first-time viewers, I thank you so much for stopping by tonight. I hope you have a good time with us, and I hope you decide to come back here in 1 week's time. Actually, 2 weeks' time. We're going to be doing a rerun next Thursday because it's Thanksgiving. But we're here every week. In this time slot, we always have something playing to do with vintage snowmobiles. We simulcast to 8 different places across Facebook and YouTube. So wherever you're viewing this, just circle back and we'll have something waiting for you. To our regular viewers who are here week after week and season after season, you are the ones who make this possible, and we thank you so very, very much for that. We've got a couple of comments. Let's take these. And here we go. Someone on Facebook says, we sound good. I appreciate that. And here we go. David Lowry, regular viewer from Alberta, says we look and sound good tonight. So we very much appreciate that. Let's not keep our guests waiting any longer. Let's bring them on. Here we go. And turn on the microphones. How you doing, gentlemen?
Good. How are you?
Good, good.
I'm doing good, Mike.
Good. Glad to hear it. So for those who may not have met Jim Leighton in the past, he's been here every season of the podcast. He's been on the podcast at least 3 or 4 times. He should be a familiar face to the long timers here. And he always has some good show and tell for us. And I'm sure tonight will be no exception. What do we have waiting for us tonight, Jim?
Well, we're going to do a little bit of replica stuff tonight. I got a friend that built a few sleds that he let me have, and he was kind of downsizing. I thought they were really cool, and he thought I should have them. So I got a few projects I want to do with them, and so tonight they're fresh out of his barn into mine, and we're gonna move on to getting something going with them this winter, just to have a little fun.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I can't wait to see them. Cool deal. Are we ready to switch your camera around, or?
Yeah, we can. Here, let me
Right.
put my glasses on and see where the camera.
Yeah.
Where's the camera to switch it here?
Typically, I think we move your finger up like that from the bottom, and it'll show a gear icon with a camera.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And it'll allow you to select between a front-facing and a rear-facing camera. And whatever one you're not on is the one.
Camera. Okay, there's that. That shows my front-facing one. Right.
All right.
The rear-facing. Back camera. There we
go. I'm going to put your full screen. Whoops. We just dropped him. Oh, no. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. He must have either he or I pushed the wrong button and it dropped him. Hopefully he'll come right back on.
Do you have many viewers from Buffalo area, Mike?
I would imagine so. I would imagine so.
Can you believe I live in Canada, and tomorrow I'm going to be raking leaves. Buffalo is expecting 6 to 8 feet of snow in one day.
Unbelievable. And you're only 2 hours from there.
Yeah, I'm 2 hours north. But
Wow.
They're on the other side of the lake, so they get more snow than we do.
So they're getting some of the lake effect, quote unquote, magic.
Yes.
They may not be thinking of it as magic.
It'll be a holiday for everybody tomorrow. There'll be no one on the roads.
Everything will be shut down.
Yeah.
Unreal.
If you're going to go to work, go by snowmobile.
Yeah, for sure. Now, we don't see Jim yet. I'm going to message him to try getting back on. I heard a beep. This might be him. Here we go. Jim, my apologies. I don't know what happened there, but...
I lost my volume. Okay, there. Can you hear and see me okay now?
Yes, things are much better.
All right, let's start with this one all here. There's it's kind of a Johnny Cash. Like I said, he's kind of taken things. It's nothing professionally restored or anything. It's a little bit of that's got 69 skis on it. It has a black dot Callan on it, but it's sitting on a 12.3 chassis, a seat that he made. I got a 340 motor, TNT motor, black dot motor that I'm going to put into the side of this, put a pipe on it, and that's something that probably going to use this winter to play around with. I built a short set of skis. I think on the 10th of December, there's going to be a radar run on Caribou Lake, and I plan on having that out there to run it down the lake for some fun on the radar runs. So
that sounds like a really good time.
Yeah, just a little 70 bubble nose, just something fun. He did a nice job, cleaning it up and restoring it to, the best of his abilities. And so
is that original bumper on there?
That's a brush guard bumper. Okay. I got I don't know, 7 or 8 of those laying around on the thing, and I think it was an aftermarket bumper, because the 12.3s never had a bumper on them. They didn't have a chrome bumper. No. And I've got some that are like this, and some that are for the older sleds, like back in the probably 67, 68, and they're round. They're like a round tube that goes around. Yeah. Kind of look the same, but not, they're round instead of like that. But that's a nice little brush guard if you're out beating around the woods and the grass and stuff. So
yeah, that's a good idea.
So it's I don't know, adds a little weight for the speed runs, right? But
yeah,
but my short skis take the weight away. I got a set of skis that are 10 inches shorter than these ones. So
there we go. Everything
just for the ice and the grass. That should make it pretty fun.
Good.
So yeah, that's a little thing. I'm gonna do a little cleaning to it. Put a nice little windshield on it. I got that nice motor for it. I'm gonna put that little black dot engine in there and see how it runs. I think it'll go good.
Yeah, that's sweet.
That's in great shape.
I got some little callens here that I'm making clocks out of. I just pulled them out the other day down back. I'm
Great idea.
gonna make some clocks for the shop. So
Yeah, that is cool. When those are finished, I'd love to see some images of those
yeah,
clocks.
because I'm gonna do I got a thing for the side of a twin cylinder one too, and I'm gonna do that. And most people put a clock face in them, and then they put the clock on it. I think I'm gonna put the recoil on it, so it's got the recoil look to it, and put the clock inside the recoil. I think it'll look pretty good.
Yeah,
We'll try it. We'll see what it looks like.
that
So
could be
anyway,
very
there's
interesting.
that one. Like I said, just hopefully it should be a fun little toy to play around with. There's a million of them out there, and then I've got this thing here, and this is what I really showed him that I really liked it and I really wanted it, and he let me have it. So this is a replica of the Double Eagle. He built this Callan himself. He found a Callan and started cutting and fiberglassing and foaming and just made it look so the sled looks like it was the Double Eagle. I think, what did they make? 25 of those sleds or something like that? They had
Something like that. Very few.
They had two 399 motors in them, and the other one had two 669 motors in it, I believe, or the two that they built.
Yeah.
So again, it's just a lookalike. I really wanted to keep it the way he's got it, because when I come around and show you the motor and stuff, it's kind of cool what he did with it. But he wants me to see me get it running. He'd like to see, you could drive it down the trail or drive it through a show or something like that. And so I'm going to put a 340 twin motor in it.
Yeah.
I got one out of a Silver Bullet twin motor that I'm going to put in it, and so that it'll run and drive down the trail of the show or whatever. But I think it really had a cool look. I think he did a really nice job making it.
He executed that very well. It really looks like the sled, that iconic look that we all know.
So he said a lot of people didn't know what it was. And the minute I walked in, he could see the glow in my eyes. He goes, "I think you should have that." So I even had him sign the Callan.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah. Because like I say, he's an artist. He did these paintings. He does paintings like this stuff.
Yeah.
All the time. And so he really, just handy. But the motor itself, he had to have a motor for it. He just found parts and pieces. This happens to be a 371 out of a 69. And so he kind of started throwing it together as it was all apart. The carburetor's stuck on with some sheetrock screws. The coils are actually cardboard that he made out of cardboard, made them look like real coils out of cardboard.
Wow.
He had to tie the clutch and the recoil together. So he put a wooden rod as a crankshaft to kind of tie them together. And then he was trying to find something for a clutch cover, and he went in the house and he got himself a stainless soup bowl and drilled a hole and just put it. It's kind of why I wanted to keep it the way that he built it, because he just did it as a I think it's just an art piece, Yeah. I didn't really want to, but he really would like to see it running. So I think I'll pull that motor and put it aside somewhere. And
so Jim, can you tell me the story about the Eagle? I've never heard of one.
So they had. I'm gonna think back, and I may be right, wrong, probably wrong with a lot of this, but so the first one I think that they built was out of a bubble nose chassis like this.
Who built them?
Two single cylinder 340 motors in it, I think is what they were. 330.
Was it a private race team that built them, or was it Bombardier?
No, I think it was Bombardier.
Oh, okay.
The nose on the bubble nose kind of come out and made a big bubble on it, so they could get the second motor in. I don't know. I guess that worked pretty well. So then they went and they put the two motors inside the Eagle, and the front motor run forward like it was supposed to. The rear motor actually run in reverse.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And they were 4 tune pipes coming off in the thing and running it, and it was on a wide body, an 18-inch chassis sled, just like this one is. And the reason for the cowling the way that it is was to give room for that second motor way up front.
Oh, yeah.
I have and I wish I would have brought it with me now, but one of these sleds, and I think it was a 399 version of it, ran here in Caribou in 1969. It run in Caribou when they had the little 68 600, the little TNT that had a bubble nose,
Yeah.
the little 600, and it had the little wide carburetors like the 669 did.
Yeah.
Had a small one on top and a little one on the bottom, or the big one on the bottom. And so there's a picture that Mark actually took of this Eagle and that 600 sitting side by side at that race. And that 600 that was sitting there is over in Prescal being restored right now. The only thing I guess left is the Callan. And when they get that done, we're going to put these two sleds beside each other and try to get the two guys that were sitting on them back together to sit there so I can get a picture of them.
That would be amazing.
You know, it's nobody's going to see that it doesn't have twin motors in it. All they're going to see is it looks like an Eagle and a 600, you know, sitting side by side. So
yeah, it's going to have the right look. Yeah.
I'd like to learn more about the history of it, but I know just enough to get me in trouble on it. But
sure.
Just because there wasn't a lot of them.
Yeah.
So,
now we do have some comments coming in. I'll run them by real quick. We've got Reese Fleury says, very cool, Jim.
Reese. Hey,
and
Reese.
Then I think someone you know well, Russ Leighton, says, looks great, brother. Is that your brother?
That's my cousin. Yeah.
Very cool. And he says he's from Long Lake, Maine.
Yes.
And we also have Roger Cormier from Winnipeg, Manitoba. Regular viewer says everything's looking good. Kevin Culhane says everything sounds good from Sudbury, Ontario. And one last one here. Maybe I've done this one. Dave Lowry from Alberta. So I think I've got all the comments. Yes, please continue.
Yeah. Well, we'll switch gears here a little bit. So through those ones. I've got my granddaughter's 3 years old. So this winter, this one's coming down.
Yeah.
So, what was that first year? They had the 72, right? Was the first year?
I believe so.
That they made the kitty cat. That's what that one is. It's the 71, I think, when they made them, but they didn't really have them out production. 72, I think, was the first production year.
Yeah.
So I've had this one for a while. It runs really good. Like I say, my granddaughter's 3, so I'm going to be digging that one down out of the rafters and dusting it off here right off now that we got some snow. And I looked pretty hard because the 72, I always wanted the mini bike to go with it. So this is a 71 Articat mini bike.
Yeah.
And I found that in the lower part of Maine. A friend found that for me, and we got it home. And I've been powder coated the fenders, and now I got the tank over there that I got to clean up, and I'm going to powder coat the tank, and I'm working my way through, get the handlebars and stuff. But now because I like to go to these little shows, and when I do, I can take the snowmobile and the mini bike with me. So
yeah,
you know, they both got that leopard seat on them and stuff. They sit well together side by side.
And is the mini bike for you to drive around at the show?
What's that?
Is the mini bike for you to drive around at the show?
I can, yeah, sure. I drive all my mini bikes at least once.
Nice.
Yeah, there's the tank. I'm just starting to clean it up.
There we go.
Sandblaster.
Get that iconic look.
Get it cleaned up so I can get it painted and put back on and work at things through. So,
nice.
So yeah, that's those are some of the toys, and we got a little motor here for a 65 that had cleaned up and got it all cleaned up and ready to go. So once I get that finalized, I'll go down back and dig the 65 chassis out and bring that up and put that in it and get that ready. So hopefully that'll sit next to the 64, and I got a 66S. The motor's stuck up pretty hard, but we're gonna try to get those out and cleaned up, and so they'll all three side by side, you know.
Nice.
But yeah, that's kind of what I got here in the shop at home, and just to kind of play with and make my own. we could go down to storage, but it's awful dark down there.
Sure.
But there's just a bunch of bubble nose. That's all there is. There's a big line of bubble nose down there that, they're all original sleds, and most of way I look at it, they're only original once, and if I can keep them originally, I do.
Yeah.
They may not look brand new, but that's not really what I look for.
Yeah.
As long as they look good, and they run good, that's the way I keep them.
Yeah, for sure.
So
we've got a comment that's come in. Roger Cormier says, very cool looking double eagle replica. Awesome show and tell. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Cool deal.
A lot of fun to do this, get to see everybody's collections. Without this, you don't get to see what people have.
Yeah. In fact, you're right. That's one of the things I really like about this podcast and excites me about it is the possibility of being able to bring people like yourself on for show and tell so people can see what others are doing in this hobby. I consider it as holding a mirror up to the vintage snowmobile hobby so we can all see what the others are doing.
Right.
And yeah, I would say that's probably going to be the most satisfying part of it for me is to be able to go in people's garages like we are now and see what people are up to.
See what's in the corners. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And you were mentioning the other location where you've got those bubble noses. If you're ever over there with the cell phone, if you're able to take some video, send it to me. We'll share it on the podcast. So we'll bring you on so you can kind of set it up, talk up the clip and everything.
Yeah, I can do that. My hopes is to sometime tomorrow or Saturday go down, and I want to at least pull out my 340 so I can bring it up here and start stripping it down and getting it on this other chassis. So
yeah.
And then like we had talked about earlier there with my buddy's place at the restaurant, he finally finishing up and stuff, getting it ready. There's a lot of sleds out back there. We've done one little tour of that once, and it would be nice to get things cleaned up and pull down a few here and there.
Yes.
I'd like to come back on a little later and maybe bring that Puma on, that 793 Puma. That would be a nice sled to bring on and get started. We've always kind of wanted to hear that started. We've had my dad's 797 on here, and we had it running in the garage here, and we're kind of be really nice to hear that Puma run.
Yeah. Oh, and then Kevin Culhan says he loves your clock idea.
Yeah, I see him on the internet here and there, but I like I'm trying one myself finally. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, like I said, I want to try it with a recoil, not just a clock face. I want to see what the looks of it is.
That would be a cool look, I would think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see that once it's finished.
Yeah, I ordered the clock parts on Amazon. I'm just waiting for them to come in.
Nice. And then we've got David from Alaska Railroad saying good evening to all of us, and we appreciate that. And yeah, for anyone who happens to be viewing this, if you have comments or questions, please feel free to comment and make comments for us in the comment section. We would love to hear from you. Questions, comments, reactions, anything that comes to mind. But
Mike, that's the first time I've ever heard of an eagle.
Sure,
it's a really neat looking front end on it.
It is, and I've only seen them in pictures. I don't know a lot about them. I've just seen them in pictures a few times, but. Yeah,
were they built for cross-country racing, or were they built for the drags because of the amount of horsepower?
I gotta say they were probably built for a drag race, because I think the race that they was at up here was at the airport. But again, that was really before my knowledge time. But they were here. They had one here, but I really think that they were a drag sled type thing.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that they would corner around the oval track very well with those two motors in them. And
yeah, a lot of weight on the front end.
They'd be the fastest ones on the straightaway.
Yeah.
True, yeah. Get the jump there.
And I don't know what the top speed ever was on those. I guess I never read anywhere what they actually made for top speed.
Yeah, good question. Yeah, and I don't know enough about them either. I've just seen them in magazines a couple of times. But we do have David from Alaska Railroad said he's been getting a bit of snow the last few days. We've got Russ Leighton says we need to finish up the ski rules.
Yeah, he keeps saying that, but he never work on them.
Sure. And then Mike McAlargy says it's snowing in Michigan.
It's snowing here.
There we go. Look at that. Yeah.
Oh.
We got snow to ride here.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So don't have to worry about that.
Nice. Yeah, maybe one night have you come on and do some yard riding and do some drive-bys or something.
Yeah. Or like you say, I could get some video during the day where it might be easier and do that. So yeah, I don't know. I think
Is that a Charger?
Motors over that. My father raced a lot of sleds, a lot of stuff, and I still got the whole 669 that he has, but I got the motor sitting here close to me, out of the old 69 TNT 669, had the dual carbs on it, up and down. So I got the sled sitting in storage. It obviously, I mean, he raced it. It's beat up, but it's all here, and so I got that. I got the trophy, and the newspaper article, and actually a silhouette picture of him in '69 when he raced, and they had a jumping contest afterwards, and he jumped over 45 feet to win the jumping contest with his sled.
Oh, yeah.
In 1969 on a bogey wheel machine.
Wow.
And leaf springs front end.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's the 340 that I'll be putting in the Eagle.
There we go. Yeah.
I'll put that's a silver bullet motor. I'll put that in, and then there's a little 299 motor. My father and his racing.
Oh, look at that. Yeah. Wild Child.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Oh.
Now, we do have some information coming in. Someone on Facebook, I believe he's talking about the Double Eagle. He's saying it was the world's fastest snowmobile in 1969. It hit 94 miles per hour, and as he remembers, and it was at West Yellowstone in March. Now, there's also some more detail. Ivan Mayu, Sudbury, Ontario, this must be who's making the comment, says it's a nice Double Eagle replica. He said he actually sat on Gaston Furlan's, he was a factory Ski-Doo driver, actually sat on his 797 triple Double Eagle. And for those who are interested in Gaston Furlan, in a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, we've got someone coming on who just bought some snowmobile clothing, some racing outfits from him, and had some images and so forth. So if you're interested in Gaston Furlan, we're going to have some information about him here in a couple of weeks. Also, another comment. Oh yes, David from Alaska Railroad says he got here late, wanting to know where this is where we're going live from, and I'll let you tell him, Jim.
So we're in northern Maine, in Limestone. We are, if you're familiar with Maine at all, Portland, Bangor, Portland area. We're about 5 hours, 4.5 hours, 5 hours from Portland, 3 hours from Bangor. So I live, my farm borders the Canadian border, and Grand Falls, New Brunswick is kind of right off to the side of us here. And we're there's probably another hour and a half or so, maybe even 2 hours to the Allagash.
Yeah. So. Nice. Very cool. So yeah, Jim, I'd love it if you could stick around for a while. We're going to continue with the program, do some announcements and look at some videos, but we'd love it if you could hang around with us and participate in that. Excellent.
Yep.
Well, cool. So the next item on the agenda, I'm going to pop that on the screen. We're on item number 2, and this is an opportunity for Rob to talk to us about AMSOIL. And I'm going to put you full screen, Rob.
Okay, Mike. AMSOIL is 100% synthetic oils. They have a complete line of different kinds of synthetics, right from engine oils, Signature, good for 25,000 miles, XL, good for 15,000 miles, and OE that you change when the light comes on. And we have a complete line of gear lube, automatic transmission fluids, diesel oils, compressor oils, everything, including snowmobile oils. In 1972, AMSOIL was the first synthetic oil company to ever come out with 100-to-1 snowmobile oil. And Tim Bender, Jacques Villeneuve, the Visaires, the Deckers, all those guys all ran AMSOIL synthetic, AMSOIL snowmobile oil in their machines. And a lot of those guys were running at 300-to-1. That's why I got involved in the snowmobile racing. Tim Bender talked me into it in the 79 SRX I was running. It was supposed to be 15-to-1 oil mixture, and I kept fouling plugs. Tim told me, switch to AMSOIL. At 100-to-1, the machine ran so much better. Still have the motor running. AMSOIL has a complete different type of system where you can buy the oil. You can become a third customer, buy AMSOIL directly from them, and save 25% on all the product. You ordered $100 worth, you get free shipping right to your house. On your birthday, they give you a $5 coupon, and when you go to renew, they give you another $5 coupon. And every month they have some kind of special deal. So this month, if anybody buys $150 worth, they're going to send you a free hat. Don't know what kind of hat they're going to give you, but they have a number of different kinds of hats. So if you order $150 worth, you can either get a hat, either one of the hats. Plus, you get the discount on the product and free shipping, and the product shipped right to your house. You can mix and match. You don't have to get a whole case of something. So if you want 4 bottles of small engine, some oil for the snowblower, and some oil for your car, or diesel fuel conditioner, or something like that, Amsoil has it available. Anybody that wants a catalog, they let them know what Amsoil has available, or wants to know how to sign up, on the bottom of this website, Mike has his information.
Absolutely. Right there in the comment section, there are links to get the free catalog. There's links to learn more, links to the preferred customer program. And one of the things I really like about the preferred customer program, it's similar to a Costco membership. It's $10 for the membership. And in most cases, on your first order, you're going to save more than your $10 investment. And so once you've signed up for that preferred customer program, you're always going to buy at the deepest levels of discount that Amsoil has to offer. So it's an incredible value. And I'll pop this on the screen one more time. And as Rob said, there's a link in the description if you'd like to join this preferred customer program, which is an incredible value. The link's right there in the description. But yeah, so before we switch gears and get into some videos, one of the things I wanted to talk about is several weeks ago, we had a lady racer night. We had some of the top Eastern lady racers on here, and we were sharing memories and so forth of those times. And we had someone come on, actually, I should say, send me an email, Mike Dotage. And apparently his mother raced with some of those racers. And he made some comments. We've got a follow-up email from him. I'm going to read this on the screen here. It says, I was able to watch the show where you read my email. Thank you for sharing that with the ladies. It was a proud moment for me, and I'm trying to find some good racing photos, but they are rare. However, I do have these few from the glory days. So let me pop these images on the screen that he shared with me. This is his mother, Irene Dodig, and this appears courtesy of Mike, of course, her son. This has got to be from the early 70s. And another image, that's his mother, Irene, in the center of the image there. Those harken back to the good old days, those images. And then we've got some race stats. And we've got Irene on there, and also Jackie Wachter. Jackie is one of the ladies that was on here that night. I need to share this with them, with the ladies that were on here. They would love to see that. And we've got another image here. This is talking about a new shop that opened. And it's difficult to see this. I'm going to zoom in on the text there. I'm going to read it, or try to read it. It says, the grand opening of Dodig Chaparral Sales and Service was held on Sunday, November 21st at the Something Store on Quarryville, Blue Mountain Road. Among those present for the demonstration of the Chaparral snowmobiles were above far left, Mike and Irene Dodig. Those are his parents, I believe, Robert Dodig, Dorothy, and John Dodig. And this is that image closer up that I was just reading about. But yeah, thank you so much, Mike, for sharing those images. We really appreciate that. It's always fun to go back and look at images from yesteryear. Very cool. It's like a little time travel, if you will. So we very much appreciate that. So we are on item number 3. We're going to take a look at a video clip. This is a Doug Cower's Kawasaki collection. I've met him at several different shows. This particular show was back in 2019 at the Goffstown, New Hampshire Vintage Snowmobile Show. Just takes me a moment to pull up that video clip, and let's take a look. Here it is right here.
Originally from Michigan, but I live down in Woburn, Mass. These 2 sleds here are the original owners from Chicago area, out in Illinois. My buddy bought them both like about 5-6 years ago, and I picked this one up last year, and just this year he ended up selling that one. So now these 2 sleds are staying together. They're both original. I got all the paperwork on this one here that shows how much they paid for it. Shows where it came from, what they traded in for, an SS440. That's basically the bill of sale.
Wow, from the original transaction.
Yep.
That's wild.
Original transaction. Still, even the original little booklet, the owner's manual.
Yeah.
Still have that.
Nice.
You can see how mint that is.
Yeah. That's amazing.
I got this one out last year. The first one I had, I was up at the Andover show up there in New Hampshire, and I took it out for a nice little ride. It goes pretty fast.
Yeah, I bet it does.
And it doesn't even, as you can see, if you want to come around,
Yes, yeah.
it's under 600 original miles on it. This one has about 1,200 miles. Not even 600 miles on it yet.
Wow. Get a little glare off of there. Nice.
The Interceptor, about 1,200 miles. Limited production. They only made 600 of these, so it's pretty rare.
Yeah.
Last year, the production too, they only went from 78 to 82. That was the last sled they made.
So this is the last production run right here?
Yep. Last production run, as you can see. They only made 600 of them. Like I said, I picked this up, and these are, like I said, from the original owner. Buddy of mine, second, so now I'm the third owner.
Wow.
So hopefully I have them for a while. If they ever sell them, I said they got to go together.
Yeah.
So they got to stay together.
Totally, yeah.
And this
Puppies from the same litter, right?
Yeah. I've had people ask, these are for sale? I go, yeah, maybe in a few years or so.
Yeah.
When I'm dead.
Yeah.
But
yeah, these are investment grade snowmobiles right here.
oh yeah, like I said, everything's original to them. They haven't been restored. And I think they're one of the best sleds ever made.
Oh, I agree.
I'm biased, but I just love them.
Yeah, definitely one of the sexiest sleds ever.
Oh, they definitely
The
are.
lines on these things were amazing.
Yep. They were just awesome. As you can see the difference in the years, the ski stands got wider from there to here.
Oh, yes, yeah. Look at that.
See that little bulge right there?
Yes, yeah.
But it's surprising. That has this ski spring and that spring. Look at the difference in them. That's more like this. That one really arches up.
Oh, yes, yeah. Now, how does that affect the handling? What's the advantage of one over the other?
Well, plus, if you can see the difference here on the skis, this side over here, they reinforced them. So it made that ski sturdy.
Gotcha.
That arch probably for the handling.
Sure.
Better handling. This is more like a luxury sled.
And this is more of a performance sled here.
Yep, this was basically, it's under the class when I was at a show at the Nationals. It's under muscle.
Muscle sled, yeah.
Yep.
Outstanding. Well, good. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any reactions to that, gentlemen?
I don't know why Cowie got out of it. They had a lot of money behind them, and they had some great bike motors they could have kept developing.
They were
Yeah,
really good sled.
They were, and with their dealer network for motorcycles, they could have stayed in the game for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
they had a great looking machine.
Him to have the history of those machines is that's a lot right there.
For sure. And we've got some comments that have come in. We've got someone on Facebook saying good show, and they're from West Michigan where it's snowing. We've got Russ Leighton with a question. He says the OEMs act like if you don't use their overpriced oil, you'll ruin your engine or void the warranty. He wants to know if Rob has any comments on that.
If a manufacturer tells you you got to use their oil, by law, they have to supply it to you free. It's called the Magnus Act. They can't tell you got to use their oil. And what they got to tell you, you got to use an oil that meets a certain qualification. Like for Skidoo, it's got to be 92% no ash. Amsoil's 99. Amsoil outperforms the Skidoo oil. And you know what? Skidoo doesn't make their own oil. It's made by another oil company.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
They put up bids. Whoever puts the lowest bid in, that's who gets made the oil. So they don't go by the best quality. They go by the best, whatever they get the best price on.
Sure.
Yeah, and all the manufacturers do that. Even the automotive manufacturers do. Yeah.
Yeah. And it sounds like Amsoil exceeds those minimum levels. The OEMs call for.
Yes, over exceeds it.
Nice. That's cool. So you know you're getting something that's not going to damage the machine.
Yes, yes. And look at the factory change for Skidoo, Villeneuve, the Deckers, all the big factory teams all ran AMSOIL.
Good point.
And they could have got free Bombardier oil, but they came and bought AMSOIL because it outperformed it.
Gave them a competitive edge. That you're right. That speaks for itself.
Yeah,
for sure. And then we've got David from Alaska Railroad saying, nice Kawasaki's. Always wanted to ride an Interceptor. And then we've got someone on Facebook saying 1982 Interceptor is one of my all-time favorite sleds. It won the 1982 Snowgoer Shootout. Very cool. And then we've got someone on Facebook saying very nice sleds. And one more, we've got Russ Leighton saying, thanks, Rob. Yeah, thanks for answering that question. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Any final comments on the Kawasaki's before we move on?
If Russ sends you an email, I'll send him that act.
Yes.
Tell Russ to send you an email, and I'll send
Let me,
it to you, Mike, and you can send it to him.
I'm going to pop the email on the screen here if I can find it. Right here. Right at the bottom of the screen there. Russ, if you're able to email me at that email address, I'll forward your contact information on to Rob, and he'll forward you the details of that act. And I think he's going to show us.
AMSOIL has a big promotion thing out. The freedom to run. You have the choice to choose any lubricant you want that meets that manufacturer's. Yeah, and that's under Magnus Act.
Magnus Act.
Yeah.
That is good to know. Very cool. Very cool. Let me move this email address. We do have even more comments coming in. We've got Russ Leighton. Okay, he's popped his email address on the screen. I won't keep that on there real long just for his privacy, but I'll circle back to that. Josh Leverker. Okay, yes, our good friend Josh Leverker. He was on here a few weeks ago. He says, from what I've been told, Kawasaki stopped doing sleds suddenly and used their factories to make military equipment. Interesting. Didn't know that.
That happened.
Yeah. Well, cool. So we are on item number 4. This is some footage I got this past winter when I went to the Crane Snowmobile show in Lancaster, New Hampshire. I wanted to go live from that show, but it's funny, at that location, sometimes I have a good signal, other times I don't. And the quality of the signal has everything to do with the image quality when you're going live like that. So unfortunately, the image quality in this is not the greatest, but we've got some interesting things happening in this video. We have a chance to meet Paul Crane, who was the first American to ride a Ski-Doo snowmobile in the U.S. or Canada, and he also was involved in the first import. He was involved in importing the first Ski-Doo snowmobiles into the U.S. and setting up some of the first Ski-Doo dealers in the U.S. So we're going to meet him. He was the one hosting this show. Also, there's Aaron Selly in here. We speak to him real quick. Usually his family has multiple generations. His father, him, his kids, his nephews, nieces and nephews, multiple generations, and they bring all of these snowmobiles to these shows. Very, very active here in Vermont. And they have a lot of the antique rear engine sleds, things like that, which have been on this podcast in the past. The other thing we're going to see is an Arcticat EXT owned by Steve Fenoff. And he won the Lancaster Grand Prix with that sled in 1971. I think those are the details. I hope I have them right. The reason I'm mentioning Steve Fenoff is because later in the podcast, let me pop the menu on the screen, item number 5, we're going to see Steve himself inducted into the Eastern Snowmobile Hall of Fame, which was last year, 2021. So we're going to have a chance to meet Steve and watch him be inducted into the Hall of Fame. So with all of that out of the way, let me pull up this video. As I said, it's poor image quality, but there's a lot going on here for us to look at. Let's do that right now.
Here's Paul Crane. Do you mind being on camera, Paul? Sure, this is Paul Crane of Paul Crane's Snowmobile Museum. He's the host of the event. Do you have anything to comment about what we're looking at today?
I was worried about people coming, but we got quite a few. Some guys from New York couldn't make it because they had more snow yesterday. But, it's turning out pretty good.
Yeah.
For the weather, considering it's, 12 degrees?
Yeah. It's not too bad considering it doesn't feel like 12, thankfully.
I'll give you a good picture of things. Seems like we've got more cats than anything.
Yeah, that's a nice problem to have as far as I'm concerned. You're a cat man. I am a cat man, yeah. Now, what's your brand, Paul? Would it be Ski-Doo or? Do you like them all?
Ski-Doo, I'm more partial, but, I sold Polaris and I sold Scarul and I sold Johnson.
Sure.
And Snow brand.
Nice.
So, but you know, 58, I live on the prototype. Not too many people can say that without my front bike.
That's true. That's right. In fact, for all of you watching, Paul was the first American to ride a Ski-Doo snowmobile in the U.S. or Canada, and he was one of the people to help import them into the U.S. here in Lancaster back in the late 50s, early 60s. And he set up dealers all across New England. And, yeah.
Pretty good picture anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Good turnout. Yeah, 2 rows here, and yeah, looking good. Yes. Yeah, he's got a nice collection.
This
But this is yours, right? This Husky?
Husky, I took it out. Why I took it out is 28. They could bring it to New York. They want it in a film.
Oh, really?
Film they're making.
Yeah. Nice.
So I got somebody bringing it down to 28. Do it.
Good.
Something about Amazon.
Really?
I
Yeah.
have no idea.
Crazy. I'm going to go take a look at it. Good to see you, Paul. Thank you. All right. So you just caught Paul Crane talking up that Husky. He said they want this for a movie. And someone's going to be picking this up and bring it to, did he say New York? I think it was. And this is going to be in a movie. Something about the Amazon, he said. How cool is that? Little teeny Mike. Yeah, these are some of the early experiments. They make a modern version of this. One of the issues with this when they came out, there were a lot of positives about it as far as it would go a lot of good places and everything. But let's say you're taking this, you're going to climb up a snowbank. If your knees are right here, your knees could get caught under this bar when that bar tips down as it climbs the snowbank. And they had some issues with that. But other than that, these were really, really good. And they were compact. You could put them in the back of a station wagon. Hey, there he is. Aaron, how you doing? Good. You mind being on camera? Cool. Live on Facebook and YouTube. This is Aaron Sally. He's a collector from what part of Vermont? Cabot. Yeah. Nice. You guys sleds here today? Or?
Yeah, I just watched.
Yeah. Nice. Your dad and brother coming and everybody here?
Brother, nephew.
Yeah, good. Good. Keep the tradition alive, huh?
Yeah.
The next generation. Good. All right. More cats here. Yeah, Paul was right. There's plenty of cats today. Let's take a look at some of these signs here. Oh, Mark, this is the Bristol family. Okay. I know these look familiar. So Mark Bristol and his son Lucas Bristol. They also own that Snow Twister and another cat over there too, which we'll get to in a minute. I have a feeling that EXT is the one that Steve Fenoff used to race. Let's see if there's a book on there. Oh, here we go. Yeah. This is Steve Fenoff's race sled when he drove for Calkins Cat. He raced in the USSA division in 1971, winning numerous races throughout the East. And he was reunited with this sled in September when they had the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Yeah, so Steve Fenoff used to race this sled. He's from about a half an hour from here in St. Johnsbury. And I don't know, it ended up in a barn or something, and Lucas Bristol bought it. And he was reunited with the sled this past fall when he was inducted into the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame, right here at the museum. So a lot of history and stories around this sled. These are some of Bud Gordon's Snowjets and Kawasaki's.
Oh, Formula 2. Oh boy, I was working on one of those pieces.
Wow. Yeah.
There's plenty of motors sticking out of that one.
Yeah. Yeah, this is Lucas Bristol's, I think.
Actually, if you widen the front end and change the suspension, it makes 440 out of it instead of the 290. And take the gear reduction off of it, you can have a fast sled.
Yeah.
And in fact, Mike Lauders in 1974 won Mod 3 against Jacques Villeneuve at Eagle River. He won Mod 3 on Formula 2. All right. Yeah, 10 lapper.
Wow. Formula 2.
They didn't come out of the hole because they had a short track.
Cable steering.
Cool. So yeah, thoughts, gentlemen? Or
I never heard of a snowmobile with cable steering before.
yeah,
That must
Different.
be just only on the race sled, because I think it would freeze up on trail riding.
yeah, it's true with mass production and people having that in their yards. Yeah, they'd most likely freeze up. For
Okay,
sure.
so-
And those- go ahead, Jim.
Sleds. I think there was a Husky dealer in Fort Kent here way back when they sold a lot of those.
Yeah. And those last two gentlemen we saw at the end, the one with the stripe on his sleeve, that's Midge Rosebrook. He's the founder of the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame, and we're going to see him in the next clip, as well as Paul Crane. And then the other gentleman with kind of the colors on his jacket, He won the 1975 Lancaster Grand Prix. I think it was on a Cat. It might have been like an El Tigre 250 or something. But and he's one of the members of the board of the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame. But
Down there sometime.
yeah, for sure. It's usually the first Saturday in February they do that show, and of course you're getting kind of the double. What am I trying to say? 2 for the price of 1 in the sense you're getting this show, plus it's at the museum, so you go inside the museum. There's another 100 sleds inside the museum. So there's all these exhibitors that show up with sleds, and last year I think they had 50 or 60 sleds. And then, like I said, there's another 100 sleds in the museum, and you can go inside and warm up in the museum. They've got a little corner in the back with some food, burgers and dogs and chili and stuff like that. And there's another corner of the museum that is dedicated to the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame. I call it the Wall of Fame for the Hall of Fame. Yeah, very much worth a look.
How do they get their sleds for the Hall of Fame? Is that something that are brought in for a certain amount of time from different people, or are those sleds that they purchased and put in there?
Well, at Crane Snowmobile Museum, it's mostly Paul's sleds.
Okay.
There's a few that are on loan from people he knows, things like that, but the majority of those are his sleds.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and Paul and Midge were the founding members of the Hall of Fame. It was Midge's idea. It kind of woke him up in the night, and he called Paul and said, "What do you say we do this?" And he was all for it. In fact, if you tune in here next week, every year on Thanksgiving, I air that interview that I did with Midge about the origin story of the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame and how he came to have that idea, and then what happened after he had the idea, the next steps as to, getting it moving and everything. So if you tune in here this time next week, you'll hear that origin story where I interview Midge.
I was always looking for a place like that might be able to take my father's sled to for like a year or so, let him, put it on loan for a bit to other people to see, you know what I mean? It's
sure.
Neat, at the Coles Land Museum here in Bangor. I've talked with them about it, but they're so full in there. So
yeah.
Instead of it sitting in a trailer and only me taking it out once in a great while, it'd be nice to sit it somewhere and just have people enjoy it for a little while and then go grab it again,
Yeah, for sure. In fact, what we can do after the podcast, if you want, you and I can email privately, and I'll get you Paul's contact information, and maybe even put you in touch with him to ask him about that.
Yeah,
he may be open to something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Any final thoughts before we move on to the next clip? Or?
Great show.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea, dude. That for your dad's snowmobile. That way, I think you should do that for the Eagle, because I'd like to see that.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think there's one of those in the museum, is there?
No, those are pretty rare. He's got some rare sleds, but yeah. Cool. So let's see. We're on item number 5. We're about to see Stephen Fenoff inducted into the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame in September of 2021. So it just takes me a moment here to queue up that video. And here we go.
All right, next inductee. Let me just tell you this. There was probably no better racer in New England than Bob Fortin on that Skidoo. He won the 295 class and the 340 class every weekend, everywhere, for about 2 years, 1970, 1971. It was Bob Fortin that won, and then whoever else filled in on the field, but it was Bob Fortin. So we all knew in the 1971 Grand Prix who was going to win the 295 class and who was going to win the 340 class. It was going to be Bob Fortin. The problem was nobody told Stephen Fenoff. There's a little attic cat up there next to the building with the engine sticking out, a little 71, what do they call those, EXTs? That's an EXT special, and how special that sled was. Because he cleaned our clock here in 1971, and Stephen Fenoff's name is on the Kilkenny Cup. Stephen Fenoff, would you come up here, please? All right, Steve. Stephen Fenoff, inducted into the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame 2021. Steve began his racing career in 1969 on a motor ski for Benoits of St. Johnsbury. After watching him at a race, Paul Calkins of Calkins Cat offered Steve a sponsorship racing for his company. At the 1970 Lakes Region Open in New Hampshire, Fenoff, in only his second race on a Cat, took second in a 4-hour endurance race and the following day first in the 57-mile cross country, winning first overall. When Steve finished fifth in Class 2 at the Balsams against larger dealers and distributors on a non-competitive machine, Arctic Cat distributor Rod Hughes stated, "This boy has got to have some engine." Putting Steve Fenoff on a competitive racer was the best thing that ever happened to Calkins Cat. In 1970, Steve won the Devil's Bowl in Fairhaven, Vermont, winning in both Class 1 and Class 2. He raced to a first-place win with his Mod 2 Cat at the prestigious Schaefer's Open Modified race in 1970, winning the Schaefer's Cup. Steve qualified for the first USSA World Series race in Rhinelander, Wisconsin. Driving the race of his life at the 1971 Lancaster Grand Prix, Steve won overall in Mod 2, having his name engraved on the famous Kilkenny Cup. Steve finished first in both Mod 1 and Mod 2, winning overall points to take home the Governor's Cup at the Massachusetts State Championship. Steve also grabbed a first place and a second place at the Paul Bunyan Open 2 years running. Steve Fenoff has won a countless number of other races, both sanctioned and non-sanctioned events during his career, making him one of State of Vermont's all-time top snowmobile racers from the golden era. Mr. Steve Fenoff.
Ah, boy, look how young that guy was. First of all, I got to thank everybody. This organization is so great. I'm not as good as some and pulling out everybody's name, but without them, we wouldn't be here, and we got to thank them very, very much. And isn't that right? Matter of fact, let's give them a good hand, all right? The wives that Colin mentioned a lot of times either, and they just help so much. And I've been coming to this, and it's fun. And seeing all the drivers and everything, ladies and men, it's really an honor. It really is. And Lucas brought my machine that I won the Lancaster race with in '71, and that's such a thrill, and thanks to him. And I started out, as he mentioned, it's hard. He reads off all that good stuff, you know. And Benoit you have to thank, because that's where you started. But right here is a gentleman, Paul Calkins. He saw something in me, and that man, thank you. He built my engines and stuff in his just his workshop. It wasn't a dealer or anything. And the Balsam race meant so much, because if it was cross country, I was good. And we won, but when it came to the tracks, we just plain didn't have the horsepower. And Rod came up after that Balsam race, and like I said, we left, there was a big oval, and we left dead last. Went into the cross country, we came out first. Before we got to the finish line, we were fifth. And Rod came up and says, that boy does, and that was a big change. He says, that boy needs an engine. So he gave us some cylinders, and Paul went to work. And I can say this right out, that Paul Calkins built some of the best engines that ever raced. Yep. He really did. And the sad part is he didn't get this machine going until about mid-year, and then she really talked, but I couldn't quite get in. But we could have made him really worry at the World Series. That's one that I missed, and I'm so sad that I missed. But that was a big part of it. And then we went, there's a race I have to mention that wasn't actually sanctioned by this, but it's so big. The first World Series in Rhinelander, Wisconsin. We went to West Yellowstone first. The week before, we drove out, and I was fortunate enough that Rod he hired me to go with the machine so we could take him out, because I didn't have any money to fly out and that stuff. So we went out to West Yellowstone, and it was a huge race. We was in the A mains. He was only 6. I only finished like 4th, but that to us, for being that far away and everything, was super. Then we went to Rhinelander, Wisconsin, the first World Series. Let's put it this way, my cat didn't know how to swim. And so we did not do that. Well, I admire a cat sitting beside me, and he pulled it out, and I wish I would have talked to him that day. Captain Mass, thank you. Could you guys come out here with me, please? I was afraid this would happen. I have had time remembering my name at times. But
That's where I got my wallet.
Yeah. But down there we had a tremendous day. That was my biggest winnings that day to us. Like I was taking home at the time probably $85 a week and living on it. And we went down that day and won 1 and 2, Mod 1 and Mod 2, and we took home $2,200, and I was so proud of that, man, and all of these things. Then I find out later on that the 650 and 800 class was making like $5,000. Talk about hurting your feelings. You win the Governor's Cup and everything, and you bring home 22. But no, that was a lot of fun. Okay, and thank you, everyone.
Steve, he's one of the great Vermont drivers, and Roger Poland. We got 2 Vermonters here.
Have your wife come up here.
Your wife? Yes. Mitch, yeah.
Yeah, so there you have it. Steve Fenoff inducted into the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame.
That's a great honor.
For sure, yeah.
It's good to get
And
goes on because those stories are going away. You know, we need to hear them before they do.
I agree. Yeah, there's a sense of urgency to try to preserve all of that. Absolutely. And our mutual friend Jim Tom Peters was inducted, I think, the year before that,
Yep.
2000.
Yep.
Yeah, and in fact, he was able to show up. I know he had some health issues that prevented him from going last year, but he was able to go this past fall. I was able to spend a little bit of time with him.
Yeah, he's getting around a little better now. So, yep.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Good to hear. Yeah. Yeah. Well, cool. Any final thoughts, gentlemen, before we wind it down? Or?
Great show, Mike, and I'd like to see that eagle. Let us
Yeah.
know when you take it out for a ride.
Yeah, we'd love to see some riding on that, some drive-bys.
Yeah, I'll get a motor in it. We'll get it running and see what happens with it.
I like to see the people's faces when you drive by them.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of them that have no idea what it is.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's so distinctive that it's, no matter, even if you know what it is or don't know what it is, it's pretty distinctive. You're going to be like, what was that?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Well, there's a show every year in Fort Kent that's the Can-Am sled dog races that they start off up there, and we have a vintage snowmobile show there. And at the end of it, because they put all the snow down on Main Street, and after all the dogs have gone, we line the snowmobiles up and we parade down through Main Street. So all the people that are there, we just do a parade down through, and I try to take something different every year. Last year I took an old tri-cart that transfers over with a ski to a snowmobile. I took that up, and that maybe I'll have the Eagle ready to drive that down through this year.
that would be something to see.
Oh, they like that. You got to have something different every time.
Oh, for sure. Cool. So we've got a few comments that have come in. We've got Stacy and Art Fosler from Platkill, New York, regular viewer. Thank you both for coming on. We really appreciate it. Also, Josh Leverker says he was able to meet Lucas Bristol at the Nationals this past year and saw his catch, which are very nice. Very cool. Yeah. Lucas and his father Mark are wonderful people, good friends of mine. They're not too far from here in Vermont. Old Skidoo 2 wants to know if I will be at the Great Eastern Whiteout in February. As of now, I don't have plans to, but you never know. I could surprise you. Reese Fleury says, wants to know the same question. With all these people wondering, maybe I should think about that. And that's the thing. I hadn't thought about it, but maybe I need to. Someone on Facebook says, another great show. Thank you very much. And David from Alaska Railroad says, nice show. Thank you, gentlemen. And thank you for coming on and being a regular viewer, David. Well, cool. With that, we just get into the right spot here. Yeah, thank you everyone for coming on. We really appreciate it. Thank you to Rob and to Jim and to all of our American friends here. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving next week. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to be playing the origin story. Instead of doing the live podcast next week, we're going to be playing the origin story of the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame. There's an interview I did a couple of years ago with Midge Rosebrook, the founder of the Hall of Fame, and we're going to take a deep dive into the whole origin story of how that started. They just had their 6th annual induction ceremony, so it's alive and well. It's a thing. It's taking on a life of its own with a lot of momentum, and it's, as Jim said, it's a wonderful way to preserve all those memories and stories of those glory days of yesteryear. It's a wonderful organization. So if you want to find out how that all got started, tune in here next Thursday night, 9 p.m., and you'll get that story. So yeah, with that, thank you, gentlemen, and we give the last word, as always, to Amsoil.
Great show, Mike, and have a great Thanksgiving. See you, Jim.
Thanks, guys. See you later. Thanks, Mike. Keep up the good work here.
Well, thank you so much. Have a good one. Hello, everyone. This is Rob and Mike. How you doing today, Rob?
I'm doing good. Mike, yourself?
Very well. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. Now, today, we're going to be talking about Amsoil. And in a few moments, we're going to show you how you can get the deepest discounts, free shipping, and free gifts when you order your AMSOIL products through us. But first, I'm going to ask Rob to give you a quick description of what AMSOIL is and why you should consider using AMSOIL products in your motorized vehicles.
Thanks, Mike. AMSOIL is 100% synthetic oil. Everybody uses AMSOIL for a different reason. Some people like the benefits that AMSOIL is warranted for 25,000 miles or 1 year. The reason we can do that is because AMSOIL doesn't oxidize. It doesn't form the usual carbons, gums, sludges like petroleum oils do. That's why we can keep it in the engines longer. Petroleum oils never do wear out. They oxidize themselves. That's why they have to be changed at 3,000 kilometers. And AMSOIL likes the benefit that you only have to change the oil once a year. That saves some money. Some of the people like the benefit of AMSOIL is it's a slipperier type lube. By having a slipperier type lube, it cuts down friction and drag. By less friction and drag, engines run 20 to 50 degrees cooler, better gas mileage. Now, AMSOIL says 25% more protection than the industry requires is in the AMSOIL bottles. My average customer gets about 10% increase in gas mileage. That's a big savings.
Yeah.
And by cutting down friction and drag, for every 10 degrees you cut down the friction and drag, doubles the life of the engine. So by having the engine run cooler, it makes it last longer. Some people like the benefit of the range of the AMSOIL. AMSOIL's flash point is 425 degrees, and it pours at 50 below zero.
Wow.
If you ever try petroleum oil when it's 10 below, it turns to honey. And in the summertime, petroleum oil thins out, and once it thins out, that's when it starts breaking down. So AMSOIL is an all-season oil, can give you better gas mileage, longer engine life, less maintenance. It ends up being cheaper over a year's time running AMSOIL than it is petroleum oils.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And AMSOIL is available for pretty much any motorized vehicle, anything from lawn equipment, cars, trucks, boats, ATVs, motorcycles, snowmobiles.
Yep. And a lot of people phone me up and say, well, what's the benefit of our gear lube? Exactly what I told you about the engine oil. It pours in cold weather, it runs cooler, makes the equipment last longer. And they say, well, what's the benefit of the small engine? Same thing. Makes the engine run cooler, last longer, better performance. So it saves on all the applications that AMSOIL has available.
Wonderful, wonderful. So yeah, let's talk now. Hopefully this has convinced people to think about maybe joining us in the AMSOIL experience. Let's talk about some of the discounts and free shipping and how that all happens. I'm going to pop a graphic on the screen. And yeah, by all means, if you want to talk people through how this preferred customer program works.
AMSOIL has a number of different programs. One of our main ones is a catalog customer, where somebody can order directly out of our catalog. If they order out of the catalog, they order $100 worth, AMSOIL will ship it right to their house. But our best program is our preferred customer. For only $10 for 6 months, you become a preferred customer, you save 25% on all the product. You order $100 worth, they're going to give you free shipping. You don't have to order a whole case. You can mix and match. Say you want 4 bottles of small engine, 7 bottles of 5W30, and a couple of gear loops. You can mix and match. You can order 1 bottle at a time if you want. There's no minimums, no maximums. By being a preferred customer, you save over 25% on all the products you're going to buy. AMSOIL sends you extra gifts, a $5 gift certificate on your birthday, $5 when you renew your account, and stuff like that. So it's a good way to save on some of the products you want to buy.
For sure. Yeah, it's an incredible value. And this is the deepest level of discount that anyone can get when ordering AMSOIL. Is that correct?
It is.
Wonderful. So let's take people through the step-by-step experience of placing an AMSOIL order. Then that would include signing up for the preferred customer preferred customer program, so they can receive those deepest levels of discount. So let's go to the website. This is what the website's going to look like. These are some screenshots. Once you go to amsoil.com, there's a link in the description, or you can just type that into a browser, amsoil.com. This is the page you land on. At the upper corner of the page there, you see how I've circled in red. That is the link to click, the Join Now link. That will take you to the Preferred Customer Program page, where you can take advantage of all of these discounts and free shipping and everything that we've just been talking about. This is what that page looks like. In the lower right, you're going to click Join Now. This will pop up. You select the duration you'd like, whether it's 6 months or 12 months, and click Add to Cart. Now, once this pop-up goes away, you'll be back on the main page. And the upper left, you'll see where I've got that red arrow. It says Shop. Now you can start shopping for products, and on your very first order, you're going to get these discounts and the free shipping as long as it's over $100. You'll get all of these benefits right away. So once you click Shop, it's going to take you to the product page. There's different types of oils, lubricants, so on and so forth. For the benefit of this exercise we're doing now, I'm just going to click motor oil. It shows different types of motor oil. Let's click gasoline. Now this takes us to an item. It's their synthetic motor oil. And you can see the item there, and there's choices for different viscosities. But take a look at the price. Let's take a closer look. Let's zoom in. But if you've joined the preferred customer program first, you're going to automatically get the deepest levels of discount. That's what we're looking at here. You're saving $3.80 on that quart of oil. Instead of paying $16.29, you're now paying $12.49 for that quart of oil. That is the deepest level of discount you can possibly get. And then you just add the quantity that you'd like. You select any other items that you're thinking about, add them to the cart. And once you click add to cart for the final time, you're going to see this come up at the top of the screen. It's going to show your items and your the total that you're at so far. Pardon me. And then you just click view cart in the upper right, and that'll take you to your cart. Take a close look here at the upper right. That blue box shows that you're getting free shipping. You're eligible for free shipping on this order because it's over $100. That little yellow box shows that you've got the preferred customer membership on your order that gives you the deepest levels of discounts for the next 6 to 12 months. And then below that, you've got the items that have been selected. For the exercise here, I selected 9 quarts of the signature series, but that brings us up over $100 for the free shipping. We're saving $34.20. And if you're ready to finish, you click checkout now, and that takes you to this screen here. If you haven't signed up with an AMSOIL account at this point, just click in the lower right to create an account, create a new account. It's going to ask you for some basic information, name and those types of things. Now let's take a closer look. You'll see this gray shaded box. This is a very important box. This is going to ask you if someone has referred you to AMSOIL. And if so, please enter my name. My name is Mike LaPierre. It's spelled right there on the screen for the correct spelling. And also the referral number, 304-555-94. That's how you make sure that Rob and I get credit for this. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, I have signed up for AMSOIL under Rob. So when you order using this referral number, Rob and I both benefit. So if you enjoy these podcasts that we're doing, this is a wonderful way to support the podcast, because when you order using this referral number, Rob and I both benefit. And the commissions I make go directly toward offsetting the cost of doing these podcasts. So I thank you in advance for that, for using my referral number. I very much appreciate it. And once you've done that, you just go into the next screen to enter your payment information, and you're done. Now, once you've placed your order that's over $100, and that order includes your AMSOIL Preferred Customer Program, you are now eligible to get a free DVD from myself. Now, this is going to be either a muscle car DVD or a vintage snowmobile DVD. Use the email address on the screen, wkspodcasts@gmail.com. Send me an email. Let me know which DVD you would like me to send you, the muscle car or the vintage snowmobile DVD, and I'll get that right out to you. As you're typing in that email, in the subject line, be sure and type in capital letters free DVD requests, so it stands out as I'm checking my email, and we'll get that right out to you. So I guess the last thing, Rob, that we wanted to talk about is if someone is considering AMSOIL as a business opportunity.
Yes. If anybody has a retail or a commercial account and they would like to buy directly from AMSOIL, just send Mike a line. He'll show you how to set up, and you can buy directly from AMSOIL. But if you are interested in starting your own part-time business, a part-time business that can grow into a full-time income, Mike and I will show you the AMSOIL marketing plan. AMSOIL has a large selection of products that cover almost every application. So it doesn't matter if you're into snowmobile, boating, or ATVing, or hot rods. We have an oil for every application. It's a fun type business that's I really enjoy doing. Where else can I go and have fun and make money doing it? And Mike and I are here to help you all the way along. If you need any help on how to promote or to find new accounts, we're here to help you.
For sure. So when you sign up under that number, this 304-555-94, you're getting Rob and I as a team. Now, Rob has been doing AMSOIL for 40 years. Can you believe that? 40 years. So he knows every aspect of this business, and he knows all of the ins and outs of the products. So he'll be able to help you with any kind of product questions or any kind of questions to show you the different business models that you can do with AMSOIL. And then the other thing that you get when you sign up under me is I've got a strong background in social media. So if you need some coaching on how to generate AMSOIL leads using Facebook and YouTube, I'm happy to coach you with that when you sign up under Rob and I. You get both of us as a team to help you, to coach you, to support you, whatever you need to get you off and running with this business and having fun with it. Like Rob said, it's an enormous amount of fun. If you're like Rob and I and you enjoy going to any kind of boat shows, car shows, motorcycle shows, snowmobile shows, anything with a motor, you like going to those shows, those events, those races, this is a great way to turn that into a income opportunity for you.
Yes. And just by wearing my AMSOIL hat at one of these events, people come up and ask me about AMSOIL.
Wonderful.
People don't know where to buy it, and I'm there to help them, show them where they can buy the products.
Perfect. Well, cool. Well, this is great. Any final thoughts, Rob, before we wrap it up?
AMSOIL's a fun business. AMSOIL's been around since 1968. It was the first synthetic oil to be AI approved.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And that's very early in the game too, isn't it?
Yes.
For sure. Well, good. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for viewing. Hopefully, we've gotten you excited as we are about the AMSOIL products. We'd love it if you could join us either as someone who uses the AMSOIL products or to join the AMSOIL team as a business opportunity. And we thank you so much for viewing. Have a great day.
You have a good day.